anything, standing in solidarity with Breonna Taylor and Black Lives Matter. This is your time to just broadcast that, you stand up for human rights. You stand against human rights abuse. You know what I mean? So if you would like to say something, please do. No one's going to judge you, because it'd be really bad if someone judged you for speaking on this issue. So if you have something to say, please come up and take the mic, and yeah. Clean the mic again.
Everyone hear me well enough? Yeah. Okay, so this morning I woke up, I'm speaking, even though I am with the woodshed, I'm speaking as like my own personal opinion. My opinions do not reflect theirs. But I woke up this morning, I saw the flyer for the rally going on today, and it was so quick. I was really worried that people weren't going to be able to hear about it, because of course we can post about it, but it's not really word of mouth. We need to really, what I did this morning was, as every class I went to today, I said, hey, did you hear there's a rally going on about the injustice that Breonna Taylor experienced, and that her killers were not held accountable for what they all did. It was something so below, something that it's just, you guys already know, like, they deserved way worse than what they received. But when I heard everyone talking, I was thinking about this morning when I went to my advanced literature class where we discussed American literature, and we also discussed civil rights and things along that. So my professor was talking. He was explaining how at every major point in history, Black rights, Black lives were kind of pushed on the back burner. Even during the women's movement in the early 1900s, there were Black women who were forced to stand in the back of their march. A march for women, but because of the color of their skin, they couldn't even stand hand in hand, fighting for the same rights white women were. So when my professor told us that, I thought, wow, even now, even though there is a pandemic going on, it's affecting a lot of lives, we're still almost put on the back burner. Because a girl in my class told me today, she said, there's a pandemic going on, we should really focus on that. We don't really need to focus on what's going on with the Black Lives Matter movement and everything. And I told her, you're allowed to work on more than one thing. We're allowed to work on a pandemic, allowed to work on providing justice for the bright people. We're allowed to talk about these things. Just because there's multiple things going on doesn't mean we have to be forgotten. Doesn't mean that any of these events are any less tragic than the first. But we also have to remember, Black lives, like I said, have always been put on the back burner. They're always told, oh, you'll get your time. There'll be a moment when you can talk about this. So many people are afraid to speak out about it. They're like, oh, there's worse things going on. But I want to tell you guys that it's like to stand up. Don't push this thing on the back burner. You really need to go stand out. Encourage people to vote so people don't have to, from her words, encourage people to vote so we can elect people into office. And it's not just for the presidency, guys. It's for our local governments, for our state government. Things are very important to us. Even if you don't think that your vote matters, it does matter, especially with local government. We talked about how this happened in Kentucky. And of course, maybe the president can't do something directly, but the state government can, the local government can, and we have the ability to elect who is in charge of that. So that's why when you see people promoting Black Lives Matter and voting at the same time, they are connected with each other. It's not just encouraging you to vote just because we have this mindset of it doesn't matter. We want to encourage people to vote because it really does matter in many ways, including how these Black Lives Matter injustices are approached. People just view it as, oh, it's just another black person dying. But it's not that. We have to acknowledge that in our society there is a problem. We put things on the back burner just so we can focus on one thing. But just because, I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this, but just because one of the main problems I have is that a lot of people have the mindset of all lives matter, which they do. But not all lives are having to deal with these injustices every day. Not all lives have to worry about seeing a police officer on the street and wondering, are they going to kill me? Are they going to hurt me? Not all lives have to worry about that. So that's why I really encourage people to say Black Lives Matter, not all lives matter. Because, this is an assumption, if it was probably a white woman, these police officers probably wouldn't have hurt her. They probably wouldn't have done what they did. But because she is a black woman, she's considered a double minority, so her life doesn't matter in the minds of most people in society. She's a woman. Who cares? She's black. They consider it as if it's almost bad, just being black. A lot of people, we live in Texas. You talk to some people, they're going to say, oh, like black is like the worst thing you can be. But no, we're black. It's like, gosh, you guys already know what I'm saying, but like it's hard to get all of it in loud words. But we come here to remember Breonna Taylor. We come here to acknowledge all of the lives that have been lost due to police brutality. We come here with the common goal to spread awareness for everyone. And I really want all of you guys to walk out of here today thinking about all those speeches and all the stories you're going to hear today, and think to yourself, what can I do to be anti-racist? What can I do to spread this message out there? You can't just share post after post and sharing information. Of course, I'm not saying it doesn't provide any impact, sharing and providing information and educating people like this, but you can't just post. You have to talk to people. You have to go out and inform them that there's rallies going on, inform them that there's donation centers going on, all these different things that you can do in order to provide somewhat of a justice to the black people who were killed for no reason. So, I know I keep babbling. So I want to leave you guys here. Just remember, just really think about it. Are you just posting? Are you just sitting? Are you waiting for action? But you have to really go out there and create the action, really do something. Really remember what you're fighting for. Remember what you're voting for. Remember you're voting just so people can be safe, voting for people's rights. That's it.
Thank you so much for speaking. Yes, the importance of voting and the importance on, demanding that laws be changed, laws like the Peace Act, laws like the Justice in Policing Act. Yes, so thank you for that. Hi, yes, come up.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Today I'm going to be talking about how Black Lives Matter. Back in the 1950s, or whenever Martin Luther King was alive, racism was everywhere. Martin Luther King didn't think this was fair. at all. He is known for saying positive speeches about Black lives. His most famous poem was I Have a Dream. Now some of us know that from Rapunzel, but that's not what I'm talking about. One day Martin Luther King sadly got shot. He is remembered by everyone to this very day. Thank you for listening.
Thank you so much.
Young voices.
Yes, we love it. Young human rights defenders, like the next generation of human rights defenders. We love it. Yeah. Yeah, that was really good. Yeah, and I see more people have arrived. And, you know, this is an open type of thing. So to the people who've just arrived, if you would like to say something in solidarity with Breonna Taylor and Black Lives Matter, please come up. Please take the mic and just, you know, speak your piece.
So I have to leave for class soon, so I wanted to say something while I can. I didn't really have anything planned. I do want to say, though, that I think this movement is very important, and this movement does matter. Black lives matter. Yes, all lives do matter, but all lives cannot matter until Black lives matter too. Woo! We need to stand in solidarity with our Black siblings who are being slaughtered on the streets where we stand, and they should be protected by the people who are supposed to be protecting them but are not. We need to stand with them and rally in the streets like we are doing today. We need to stand with them so that they can feel protected, they can feel like they belong, because they do belong. We need to make sure that they have somewhere where they can feel safe, because in these streets they are not safe. Every day I go home and cry because I'm so scared for my friends who are a darker color than I am, because the injustices in this world are so unfair to them. We should not be having this fight. They should have the rights that they deserve. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Wow, that was really good.
This young man wants to speak.
Yes, Ryan, come up.
I can hear myself. Yeah, I do. Okay. So I've obviously I'm not a Black woman, and I can't speak in the shoes of a Black woman, but I also was born by a Black mother, and when she was having me and they thought I wasn't gonna make it, you know, the doctor said, you probably can't take care of him anyway. And, you know, for somebody who's here now to hear that story and to see I made it, I can only imagine what she went through taking care of me. I can only imagine what her professor said when, oh, you'll never make it through school with that kid. You know, I can only imagine what y'all go through on a daily basis. And I'm speaking to all these beautiful queens out here that, you know, have to walk the streets and feel like they're not protected by anybody. We all have a part to play, and I think the best thing that we can do right now is acknowledge the original sin of America, and that is, you know, racism. Something that's built upon, you know, built our nation up. And I feel like now is the time that we can really make change and do things that we never thought we could have done before, generations before us. And we all have a part to play, and that's all I have to say. And y'all have a nice one.
Thank you, Ryan. That was really good. Yeah, and again, I think it'd be nice if like we have a couple more people, come up and say something. I know I talked to some people that, wanted to say something. Yeah, so if you like want to speak your piece, come up. No one is going to judge you, I promise. And if they are judging you, we know the reasons why they would be. So it's not really, but yeah, so if you want to come up here in solidarity again with Breonna Taylor, Black Lives Matter, and not just Breonna Taylor, but all of those black people who have lost their life due to injustice, please come up, please take the mic and, say a couple things. It'd be nice. Oh, okay. Hello.
I got this. Oh, okay. Breonna Taylor's life matters more than a wall. It continues to matter more than a wall. It continues to matter. Her life will continue to matter as long as we scream it from the street. Her life matters more than a wall.
Yes, thank you for coming up here and speaking. Thank you. Yeah, and anybody else? I see someone walking. Woo! Oh wow, Miss Kaysa. Kaysa's gonna speak. Here we go.
Hi, I just wanted to say the statement that NAACP put out, that I really just felt like I, as a student at MSU, should amplify their voices to everyone else. And it says, the system failed Breonna Taylor, and as such failed us. Make no mistake that the unsubstantial charges against Officer Brett Hankins are an attempt to placate the black community and those who have rallied on Breonna Taylor's behalf all summer long. But we will not be silenced, and we will never stop demanding real justice. It is unacceptable that once again, culpability has eluded those guilty of state-sanctioned murders. This is not justice for Breonna Taylor. This is an insult to her memory and a disregard of black lives. We know that justice is proper indictment and convictions for all 3 officers involved in the shooting. We know that justice means a complete overhaul of policing within the black community, not just in Louisville, but across the country. We know that justice is protecting black lives at all costs and not treating us as a collateral damage in botched arrests. We know that justice is leaders in our state and local government who put people over politics. We know what justice is, and we want to fight for it as though our lives depend on it, because they do. Now is the time to use our voices louder than we've ever used them before. If we want real justice for Breonna Taylor, we must fight for it in the courts, we must fight for it in our very own communities, online and offline, and we must fight for it at the polls. We are upset, and rightfully so, but we must take our anger from protest to power in the hashtag that we are done dying. And I just want to amplify that last part when it says we must take our anger from protest to power, and we do that through the polls, and we have to vote. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise, or just because you don't like either one of the candidates, don't stop that from letting you vote. And I want to say, as a black woman myself, this could have been any one of us. This could have been any other black woman, and we don't know who's next, so we have to keep fighting, and we have to keep protecting ourselves. I'm protecting black women, I'm protecting black men, and I hope y'all do the same.
Yes, thank you so much, Kaysa. That was amazing. Hi.
Hello, I'm Sarah. Usually when I come up here to talk, I don't like being in the center of attention, but I went with my dad a couple weeks ago, and he thinks that this Black Lives Matter thing doesn't actually matter. And as a strong figure of my life, I kind of believed him, because I just
didn't know what to think of it at the time, but seeing all the things that are going on right now, it's kind of shocking. I don't really know what to say, but I just wanted to say that we are a community and we should stand together. It doesn't matter what anybody is. It doesn't matter if somebody likes the same sex, if somebody is a different color, because in our hearts we are all human beings that have the same mindset of every other human being, and we should be treated equally no matter what.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
You did a great job.
So, you know, if anybody didn't have, if no one had anything, you know, else to say or add, oh, someone's walking up. Yes, don't be afraid. Please, I know a lot of people have been holding a lot of emotions and words in their heart, so please.
Hi, so my name is Jay. Some of you may know me, some of you may not. I am one of the student leaders here on campus, and that says a lot, especially considering that I am an African American female. I have 2 older sisters and 3 younger brothers, and I fear for them every day. I fear for myself anytime I go outside or I'm with a group of people, and because anything can happen and you never know when. To have gotten back to my room last night and saw that they did not indict her killers was really rough for me as an African American female, because that could have been me. That could have been me lying in a bed somewhere asleep and just dead for no reason. That could have been my sisters. That could be my brothers as when they grow up, because being an African American man is to be feared immediately, regardless of who you are, what you've done, where you're going to go in life. And it's just, it's too much to do. It's too much to handle. It's too much to keep experiencing. So I just want to say I really do appreciate all of y'all that have come out, because we as a community, we as a people, we don't see a lot of support during crazy times like this. And so it's nice to be supported. It's nice to know that there are people that are willing to be there and have our back. It's nice to know that there are people that if something happened to me, they would be causing an uproar. They would be demanding justice for me, and there are so many people that I would be demanding justice for. So again, I really want to thank y'all for coming out, and please, please, please continue to support. Please get registered to vote. Please go to those polls. Please vote, vote, vote. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, usually I don't talk either, so if I get to stuttering, charge it to my head, not my heart. But my name is Lily. I'm a part of the Black Student Union. I see a lot of them here. But I didn't come prepared with a speech either, so I'm going to just let it roll out how it comes. Please educate yourselves. For one, it is a choice to be ignorant, and it is a choice not to educate yourself on people other than yourselves. So, with that being said, it's just, it comes with a heavy heart. Like, I'm kind of like swirling with words to say, but like, to my black people, like, you're not angry. You're not an angry person when you're passionate. You're not wrong for standing up for lives. You're not wrong for standing up and, you know, using your rights as a human being to come out here and make a change. Because I know a lot of us are tired. I'm tired. I'm tired of waking up every morning or looking on social media to see another person who's lost their life for something like sleeping in a car, sleeping in their bed, walking down the street with just a hood on, being targeted just for being black. And it's not, like everybody said up here today, it's not a matter of we're taking away the meaning of all lives matter, because they do. But at the same time, you have to understand that what you're seeing is real. It's not fake. It's not a media thing. It's not a political thing. It's basic human decency and morality. And at some point, we have to take accountability for what we're doing as individuals and how we come about, you know, living our lives. Be the same person that you are on social media when you're posting these things as you are in public. Stand up for people and actually, you know, be a person. Some people don't have that morality, but you don't have to be that person. You don't have to be a product of your past. You don't have to be in agreement with somebody, even if it's your family, who doesn't agree with this. Because at the end of the day, we're all people, and we have to help each other out. And you know, that's basically all I have to say. I hope y'all make it safely out here, because a lot of people that's standing out here, if we were in another state or even a different area, a lot of us wouldn't even make it out of this. We wouldn't even be able to protest or just simply rally here without, you know, being shot at, killed at, or using our rights as a people. So I just want y'all to take that with y'all, and please, 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 please educate yourself and spread that education. Whatever you learn about, tell somebody else. You never know how your presence and how what you're learning can change. Yes, you're just one person, but all it takes is one person. So thank you.
That was so good. That was really good. Thank you. See someone else talking up. Thank you.
Hi. I never speak at these things. First of all, I want to say that I'm so proud of MSU and so proud of Wichita Falls for having, this is the third perfectly peaceful protest that we've had this summer, and I'm so proud of everybody, so that's awesome. And just going off of what the last girl said, I just want to talk about education for a minute. Education is a tool, it is a right, it is a privilege. We need to be educated in our schools about love and compassion and peace. We need to talk about what real American history is. We need to learn about the sins our country has committed in order to make it better. We need to know where we came from to improve. If any of you guys are education majors, I am. I just want to make sure that my students in the future are seen, and they know that they are loved, and they know that in my classroom they can speak their minds and have a place to be heard. And that's all any of us want, I think. So, that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you to all those who said something, you know, who built up the courage to come out here in front of all these people and just speak their mind, speak from the heart. And if no one has anything else,
Yeah!
Check. I'm the last person in the world who needs to be speaking at this thing. Students need to be speaking, in particular students of color. But as a faculty member, I can tell you a couple things. One is that we, the faculty, are failing all of you as students. But we are especially failing students of color in myriad ways, and I include myself in this. Every time that a faculty member, in the course of providing instruction in an important and significant domain of human learning and knowledge, fails to acknowledge the historical role played by people of color within that domain, fails to talk about great black artists and scientists and writers, musicians, in the context of teaching their classes, fails to discuss issues pertaining to race and the ongoing struggle of non-white people in this country and around the world, in sociology classes, in history classes, in political science classes, and makes everything about white European people. And I'll add to that Christian people, because although I'm what identified, I'm Jewish. And you all know what happened to my people. If I can relate one iota to the experience of my black students and my brown students, it's because I know that my grandparents barely escaped the Holocaust, and that their parents and grandparents and all their brothers and sisters were wiped off the face of the earth, owing to the same general kind of thinking and behavior that explains why for 400 years to this very moment, black people in this country and beyond, right, have been systematically oppressed. This country, someone said that we need to own up to the original sin of this country. That's hell, we need to own up to the original sin of settler colonialism. This is not your land. It's not my land. It's not your land. It's not black folks' land.
The Wichita Nation's land.
You're living on stolen land right now. Okay? The settling of this continent by white Europeans is an act of theft that culminated in genocide. So, this culture, this society, doesn't just happen to be racist. It's racist to its foundations. Because in addition to the systematic slaughter and dispossession of indigenous people, right, the United States, well, and even before that, the British colonies, right, from beginning to end, were propped up by the institution of chattel slavery, right? There would be no United States of America without the exploitation and dehumanization of black people, right? I'm not telling you anything that you don't know. But when people say, I don't understand why they're rioting, I don't understand why they are acting violently, right? My question is, you know, why aren't oppressed people in general, black people in particular, not in a perpetual state of rioting? A perpetual state of striking out against their oppressors, by any means necessary, like Malcolm X said, right? Give credit where it's due. Black people exercise enormous restraint, right? When you consider what they have gone through for 400 years and what they continue to go through every single day, right? When I confront somebody, a black person, a black student, a black friend, who's not perpetually angry and aggrieved, right? I think, damn, you're the chillest person I've ever met. How do you do it? Because look at how angry this makes me, right? I'm sick of it. I've been fighting this particular struggle as a white identified ally the better part of my adult life. And I can tell you that nothing has changed. And we can even go back before the advent of Black Lives Matter, which let us not forget, that was several years ago. That was in response to Trayvon Martin. But before Trayvon Martin, you know how many unarmed black men and women were killed going back into the ages of ages?
Millions.
Look at the lynching epidemic in this country. You know how many unarmed black people were killed during the lynching epidemic? It's been non-stop violence and oppression against black people in this country for 400 years. And it has not gotten, in the scheme of things, it hasn't gotten one iota better. Because, unfortunately, oppression does not operate simply at the level of politics. You can give people formal equality under the law. That's what the Civil Rights Act did, right? But unless and until those laws are actually enforced, they're just pieces of paper. So look at what happened to Breonna Taylor. She has formal equality under the law. Her partner has formal equality under the law. That did not stop them from being extrajudicially murdered in their homes, right? Formal equality is the only kind of equality that black and brown people have in this country, right? But people say the system failed. No, the system's operating in exactly the way that it's supposed to operate. Don't forget, that system we're talking about is one that was founded upon racism, and so we shouldn't be surprised when again and again and again and again the system produces racist results. I'm also very tired. There are many of my comrades from Wichita Falls Black Lives Matter are here today. We spent the better part of this summer fighting like hell in this community and faced all manner of police repression, threats, intimidation, harassment, vandalism at the hands of local white supremacists. Yep. But guess what? This community that you're living in
is crawling with Nazis and Klansmen. They're all over the place. And when black people and their allies begin to speak out about, for example, the public display of racist symbols, right? How do they respond? They respond with violence. We're peaceful here today, right? But when we had these sorts of events downtown over the summer, who showed up? The white supremacists, the white nationalists showed up, and they're the ones that are shoving people and throwing things and then violently intimidating and harassing people, vandalizing my garage 4 times with the swastika. Okay? That says one thing, that sends one message to me. I want to exterminate you and everybody like you. Right? That is what you're dealing with in this country. It's not just systemic racism. That's obviously the foremost problem. But let's not forget, let's not pretend that individual racism has become a thing in the past. If anything, it has escalated. It's always been. Actually, I wouldn't even say it's escalated. It's just come out in the open. Because certain people who will remain unnamed have allowed it. They've normalized it. They've allowed it to be brought out into daylight. Right? And so that's why card-carrying Nazis and Klansmen, right, will confront you in broad daylight with no sense of shame. They don't worry. They can do it with impunity. Meanwhile, those of us who put our asses on the line, black, white, brown, whatever, for the sake of racial justice, when we get attacked, nobody stands up for us. The university doesn't stand up for me when the local racists start calling for my termination. So forget about it. It's about you, the students, okay? You can and should get involved in the broader community if that's what you want to do. Okay? Get involved with Wichita Falls Black Lives Matter. It's a fantastic group. But in your capacity as students, right, this is ground zero for you. Right? And it's not just the faculty that are failing, it's the entire goddamn university that's failing. Right? From the president on down, hell, from the Board of Regents on down. It's not enough, whether you're talking about an individual or an institution, to be non-racist. That's not enough! You have to be anti-racist. You have to be militantly anti-racist. And when you get tired, as you will inevitably do, right, you have to stoke yourself back up again and keep fighting and fighting and fighting, okay, until this shit is gone. Will it happen in your lifetime? I don't know. You have to go down fighting if necessary. Right? It's not going to go away on its own. I'll tell you something else. Yes, vote. Vote, vote, vote. It's important, okay? But voting is one strategy in the activist toolbox. And historically, it's one that has not achieved very many accomplishments. Right? Do you think that that white men, out of the goodness of their hearts, would have freely given civil rights to black folks, rights to women and so forth? Hell no! Hell no! Even the ones that were the so-called progressives, liberals, that were elected, had to be pushed. You cannot trust that any politician is going to have your back, right? Because of their rhetoric. Or because they're not Donald Trump, because they're not out-and-out fascists, right? If you expect anything to come about from Joe Biden getting elected, for example, other than thank God Trump's not in office anymore, right? You are going to have to take to the streets and push him. And not just him, but every single other politician right down to the local level, right? That's what we were trying to do this summer. And you know what? Speaking of people who don't have our back, the city council and the mayor of this town do not have our backs, and specifically don't have black folks' back, right? Because they dug their heels in and insisted that it's okay to fly a Confederate flag, or sorry, to have a Confederate monument on public property. They refused, they resisted every step of the way efforts at police reform and accountability. They've resisted civilian review boards. They've resisted comprehensive audits of the police department, right? When people talk about defunding the police, the first step is making city governments and county governments justify the massive amount of money they're spending on this shit. Do you know that the Wichita Falls Police Department has 2 tanks? Tanks! Like they're in fucking Iraq or something like this, right? What the hell do they need a tank for? Well, they're expensive, right? They spend well more than half of the municipal budget goes towards policing. right? And all those guys do, as far as I'm concerned, is they harass folks on East Side, right? And walk roughshod all over black folks' rights. Otherwise, they're useless, in my opinion.
Who would they use the tank against?
Say again?
Who would they be using the tank against?
You. That's what they'd be using the tank against.
Yep.
Right? And most likely in a situation in which you're doing like folks are doing in Louisville right now, right? They are not on your side, regardless of whether they're definitely not on your side if you're black or brown. But if you have the audacity of being a race traitor, that is to say, a white ally, they're going to reserve the lion's share of the rubber bullets and the tear gas for you, right? Because there's nothing worse in this country than a race traitor, right? So give white folks some credit. Give white allies some credit, right? Yeah, there's white saviorism and all these things. These are legitimate problems that we all need to be mindful of, right? But the stakes are awfully high for white folks too, in their own way, right? Because race is an economy of privilege. It's about who gets what, how much, what kind, right? Some people get more of it simply in virtue of being white identified, racialized in a certain way. Some people are denied it, right? But in return for those privileges, white people are expected to do what? To be good little white people, right? And what does that mean? It means that when the cops murder a woman, right, you get online and you start making apologies for the cops. You bend over backwards every single time this happens to defend the cops and try to make the victim look like the bad guy, right? That's part and part. That's what the kind of thing you have to do. You have to justify the system, right, that benefits you, right? To be anti-racist means that, for the perspective of whiteness, means that you betray whiteness, right? You do exactly the opposite of whatever is necessary, right, to disavow your white privilege. You'll still get it anyway because you're white, but you don't have to play this game, right, where you feel the need, to declare your foremost allegiance to your whiteness at the expense of everybody else, right? This is not going to stop. It's not going to stop in this large numbers of people put everything else aside and hit the streets, get organized, and demand that it stops.
Good evening, everyone. Can y'all hear me? Ooh, y'all bear with me. I do not do public speaking. I am a member of the Black Student Union, so shout out to the Black Student Union members that are here today. All right. I am tired. I know that my black people, they are tired. We are tired. And I just want to acknowledge something. Even though maybe a lot of black people have not come up here to speak, know that it is probably because we are tired. I don't like waking up every day thinking if a cop is behind me, I did something wrong. I'm instantly checking, what did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? What did I do wrong? I don't like knowing that my brothers and my little sisters, I have to tell them about the social reality of this world that we live in. That is so horrible. What type of world do we live in where things like this are supposed to just be okay? Today, as black people, we were expected to wake up this morning and function after hearing the verdict of Breonna Taylor. And I could go on all day today. But what I want y'all to know is, say her name.
Breonna
Say her name. All too often, black women get forgot in these times of injustice. We waited way too long for justice to be served for Breonna Taylor, for them to do what they did yesterday. That makes me angry. Because not only
did it happen, but it can happen and they can get away with it. That is scary. In the peace of my home, in the peace of so many other black people, even brown people's homes, people can come in and they can kill you and you can't get justice. They tell you, essentially is what I got from it, that Breonna Taylor's life is only worth about $12 million. That is a life. She is worth more than $12 million. Say her name. Thank you.
Thank you, Jamila. And thank you to all those who spoke up. And then I'm assuming that everyone else. Oh, hello.
I haven't been to college in a long time. I'm an old graduate. But if you're a student here, you have to put yourself in your mindset in the shoes of Breonna Taylor. Because that's what she wanted to do, just a little bit more. She wanted to save lives. And that's what we're out here doing now. We're trying to save each other. The ideology that people have, the opposite races of anything that's African American has, is the fact that we have the stereotype of everything negative. No matter how many degrees you receive, no matter what you do with your life, you have this stereotype that we're breaking, and we're breaking it now. We're not thugs. We're not angry. We're pissed. We're hurt. We're not damaged goods. We are people. A no-knock order for a young lady who wanted to save people's lives. There's no dollar amount to a life, period. But anybody looking at me of any other race but African American, any other race but black, wouldn't assume that I don't have any type of criminal record. Don't even have a speeding ticket. Wouldn't assume that I served in the Army. Wouldn't assume that I went to MSU. Wouldn't assume any of that. Because of the stereotype. The stereotype that is placed upon us. That has never been us. I am tired of being mad. Because when I graced the grounds of college, I didn't have this opportunity to speak my mind because I was so forced in the idea of my parents telling me to shut up. Just learn, be quiet. And I was rebellious, like I'm being rebellious now. I refuse to be fucking quiet. So when you see in your class, whether it's online or whether it's in the building, think about the idea that no matter what you do in this world, you are great. No matter where you go in this world, you are great. You are not damaged goods. It's nothing wrong with you. You're great. People hate and greatness. People hate great. And the idea is to tear you down. We're standing out here in solidarity. And it's because we're dying. We have been dying. But now that it's social media out there, they are spreading this. So it's spreading awareness. But I'm telling you now, everybody needs to wake up. Everybody needs to wake up. This is the in-between time when you're in college, in between being a child and an adult. And it may not seem serious right now. It may not touch home right now. But when you say Breonna Taylor's name, look in that mirror tonight and say your own name. Because there's no difference in Breonna Taylor to it being you, you, or any of you. There's no difference. Put yourself in those shoes. She wanted to make a difference in this world. We all go wanting to make ourselves just a little bit better. But I'm telling you as a black woman that I gotta try just a little bit harder. I gotta do just a little bit more. And I don't mind doing it. When I got my grades in school and I got my 4.0, I had to go a little bit harder. I had to do extra. Because I know that regardless of anything else, regardless of how smart I believe I am, my exterior will change the minds of people, and it's consistent of ignorance. So when you see each other, don't forget to love each other. Keep each other in your prayers. Say her name and then say your name and uplift Breonna Taylor by still being here fighting. Fight. Fight, y'all. Because there's no difference. It should be scary because there's no difference, but you shouldn't be scared that you can't fight. You can fight right here, and that's what you're doing. And I thank all of y'all.
Thank you so much. I appreciate everyone who came up here to speak, to commemorate Breonna Taylor. Okay. One more speaker, and then we're gonna go forward with our moment of silence.
Hello. Alright, so one of my biggest things is Black Lives Matter, right? I feel like matter is the minimum.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
We are appreciated. We are loved. We are great. We are wonderful. We are beautiful. And we deserve more. Black women, we deserve more. I know y'all see my eyes are red. I'm crying over here, but we do deserve more. For me to be a black woman and walking every day having the stereotype behind me, y'all know I'm angry, y'all know I'm angry. For me to be in a car with a black man and think about him getting killed, him getting shot in front of my own eyes, I can't do that, y'all. I'm tired. I'm tired of thinking that we are below. I'm tired of thinking that we do not get justice. The law is here to protect us. The law protects you from sleeping in your bed at night with your boyfriend, coming from saving other lives, sleeping, and you get shot. As a black woman, a paramedic, saving other lives, you get shot. You die. And for 2 months later, there to be no justice. Your neighbors are getting more justice than you. It's sad. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. I just want to say today, thank everyone for coming out. I see you have a lot of allies, and we want to thank y'all for being here. We could not do this alone. As black people, I ask y'all to continue to fight. As students, as college students, go out and vote, y'all. Let's make a difference. Let's make a change. And that's not the only step. We got to continue to come out. We got to continue using our voices. And most importantly, you more than matter. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That was great. So thank you again to all of those who came up here to speak, standing in solidarity with Breonna Taylor, with Black Lives Matter. And just not that, what am I trying to say? Not just that, But to all of those who have lost their life, all the Black people who have lost their life to injustice, thank you for coming out here. Thank you for being out here in the heat. So right now we're gonna observe the moment of silence in honor of Breonna Taylor and her family, and just in general, just all of those lost to, again, injustice, to brutality. So, we all like to observe this moment of silence. Yes, starting now. Thank you all so much. I hope during that moment of silence it gave you time to reflect. I don't know, gave you time to, if you pray, to pray for these lives lost for Breonna Taylor. If you don't, just to, you know, think on things, just reflect. Yes, so again, Amnesty International, thanks you so much for coming out here. Yeah, we all really appreciate it. It shows just how much you as individuals care for the fight of justice, care for Breonna Taylor, care for Black lives, care about all of those lost to injustice. So we thank you so much. Yeah, just from the bottom of our heart, seriously, thank you so much for coming out and showing your support. Thank you.